The Nebraska Cornhuskers, with a record of 4 wins and 1 loss overall, and 1 win and 1 loss in Big Ten Conference play, are preparing for their first true road game of the 2025 season against the Maryland Terrapins, who also hold a record of 4 wins and 1 loss overall, and 1 win and 1 loss in Big Ten Conference play. This matchup, set for Saturday, October 11, 2025, at Secu Stadium in College Park, Maryland, poses significant challenges for the Cornhuskers, particularly given their offensive line struggles and Maryland's strength in generating defensive pressure. Coming off a hard-fought 38-27 victory over the Michigan State Spartans last week, one of 5 winnable games on their schedule, the Cornhuskers need 2 more victories from their remaining 6 contests to secure bowl eligibility. However, this game against the Maryland Terrapins is a tough stylistic matchup, as Nebraska's offensive line weaknesses align poorly against Maryland's aggressive front 7, making this a potential stumbling block in a season-defining road test. Under third-year head coach Matt Rule, the Nebraska Cornhuskers have relied on a dynamic passing attack led by sophomore quarterback Dylan Raiola. Through 5 games, Dylan Raiola has completed 118 of 159 pass attempts for a completion percentage of 74.2, accumulating 1,331 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, per statistics verified on the official Nebraska Cornhuskers athletics website, Huskers.com. This performance has propelled Nebraska to rank 11th nationally in scoring offense, averaging 35.2 points per game, with a ground game contributing 152.6 yards per contest at 4.2 yards per carry. However, the offensive line has been a persistent liability, allowing 18 sacks this season, including 7 over the last 2 games, for a 30-27 loss to Michigan and 3 against Michigan State, per ESPN and CBS Sports data cross-referenced with Huskers.com. This vulnerability stems from an over-reliance on drop-back passing, without sufficient quick releases or designed movements, leaving Dylan Raiola exposed to pressure and disrupting offensive rhythm. The Maryland Terrapins, led by 7th-year head coach Mike Locksley, present a defense built to exploit these flaws. Maryland ranks 19th nationally with 19 sacks through 5 games, with their front 7 generating pressure on 38% of opponent dropbacks, according to Sports Reference and ESPN Advanced Metrics. Their 4-3 multiple scheme has limited opponents to 20.8 points per game, ranking 23rd nationally in scoring defense, and 4.1 yards per play. The Terrapins secondary has secured 9 interceptions, ranking 7th in the Big Ten Conference, and their defense has forced 12 turnovers while supporting an offense that converts 42% of third downs, per Big Ten Network Analytics. For the Nebraska Cornhuskers, this means Dylan Raiola must navigate constant disruption unless the offensive coordinator adapts with screens, run-pass options, or bootlegs to counter the rush. Without such adjustments, Nebraska risks falling into predictable passing situations, where Maryland's edge rushers can collapse the pocket and force turnovers. Additional matchup issues compound Nebraska's challenges. Maryland's run defense ranks 13th nationally in success rate allowed on opponent rushing attempts, conceding just 3.8 yards per carry and 110.4 rushing yards per game, per NCAA statistics. This strength could stifle Nebraska's backfield committee, which has been crucial for offensive balance, forcing the Cornhuskers into one-dimensional play calling. If Nebraska cannot establish the run, as they failed to do with 43 rushing yards against Michigan, they will face third and long scenarios that play into Maryland's pass rush strengths. Defensively, the Cornhuskers are stout, ranking 11th nationally in total defense at 247.4 yards allowed per game and 16th in scoring defense at 16.2 points per game, having allowed just 1 passing touchdown all season, per Huskers.com. However, their run defense ranks 117th in rushing expected points added per play allowed, a potential vulnerability against Maryland's play-action game, led by true freshman quarterback Malik Washington. Malik Washington has completed 110 of 183 passes for 1,257 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, adding 3 rushing touchdowns on 11 carries, per Maryland's official athletic site, umtrps.com and ESPN. The road environment adds another layer of difficulty for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Their season-opening neutral site game at Arrowhead Stadium felt like a home game with over 55,000 fans in red. But Secu Stadium marks their first true road contest since 2023, where they lost their last 4 Big Ten Conference away games, per Huskers.com records. The cross-country travel and hostile crowd could lead to penalties or execution errors, amplifying the pressure on head coach Matt Rule, whose hands-on approach may result in overcoaching if the offense sputters early. This game is a litmus test for the offensive coordinator, who must show adaptability by tailoring the game plan to Nebraska's personnel rather than relying on Dylan Raiola's arm in drop-back scenarios. Maryland's ability to sustain drives and force turnovers could exploit any lapses, especially if Nebraska falls behind and abandons balance. This matchup serves as a critical barometer for Nebraska's 2025 season. A victory would signal road resilience and position them for 6 or 7 total wins, securing bowl eligibility and affirming progress under head coach Matt Rule. A loss, however, could expose deeper flaws, potentially limiting the Cornhuskers to 1 or 2 more victories in their remaining games against teams like Minnesota and Northwestern, which are competitive but winnable. The Maryland Terrapins' defensive pressure and home field advantage make this a game where Nebraska is likely to struggle, and without strategic adjustments, they could fall short in a close contest. The betting recommendation is to take the Maryland Terrapins with a 6.5-point spread, as their defensive pressure and home underdog trends, covering 3 of 5 games against the spread this season per BetMGM and FanDuel, suggest they can keep this game within a touchdown. Additionally, take the under on the 47.5-point total, as both defenses prioritize stopping big plays, with Nebraska ranking 23rd in scoring defense and Maryland holding 4 of 5 opponents under 25 points, per ESPN. This projects as a low-scoring affair, likely decided by a field goal, with a predicted final score of Maryland 24, Nebraska 20. The game kicks off at 2:30 in the afternoon Central Time on Saturday, October 11, 2025, at Secu Stadium in College Park, Maryland. The National Weather Service forecasts temperatures around 66 degrees with partly sunny skies. Fans can watch the game live on the Big Ten Network or listen on the Huskers radio network, Huskers.com, or the Huskers app. The Nebraska Cornhuskers versus Maryland Terrapins clash is a defining moment for the 2025 season, testing whether the Huskers can overcome offensive line woes and road challenges to keep bowl hopes alive. A win cements their growth and opens the door to 6 or 7 victories. But Maryland's relentless pressure makes a loss more likely, potentially capping Nebraska at 5 wins. For Cornhusker fans, this gritty road battle will reveal whether the team can adapt and compete in hostile territory.